Hey everybody, it's me, Shanita, your teacher sister, teacher cousin, teacher friend, teacher daughter, teacher niece. I'm an educator and I am here to talk to you, my family, about things I think that are important for you to know about education. I always like to make it quick. Help me out. So, big topic for today is equity. Why are we talking about equity? Because it is a common term these days. It's a new buzzword, especially in service industries such as education, philanthropy, and the like. Why are people talking about equity, right? Three things that I want you to understand today. One, what is equity? Real basic. I'm going to explain that. The second thing is, why should we care about the word equity and what it really means, the underlying values there? And then last is, how do we take those values and how do we make sure that they turn into practice? Because we actually should care about the practices. So what is equity? Equity is defined by Google as being fair and impartial. I like to stick with that word fair because it used to come up a lot in my household. Life ain't fair. But with the ideas about equity, if we turn it into practice, it actually could be. So just so we're all on the same page and speaking the same language, fairness means not everyone gets the same thing. Equality, it means that everyone gets what they need. Equity, that's what it is. It means that everybody's getting what they need. It's fairness. So why should we care about that type of fairness, especially if we're talking about education in our children? So here's my illustration. We all came to America. Some of us forced, some of us chose, whatever. Let's just say we were all at this level playing field here. Then there were lots of factors via laws and other policies and practices that caused this drastic separation in people. What equity says is, oh, okay, these things happen. Now we're going to put some of those policies, those laws, those practices in place so that we have a leveling of the playing field. So we, and when I say we, I'm talking about my family, I'm talking about Black folks, okay? We should care about equity because it means that some of those inequalities, those injustices, the inequities, the oppression that was put upon us, we actually have some reparations or repairing of those things, right? So those things were put in place. It caused this drastic gap. And now we're going to put some things into place so we can close those gaps. We should really care about that. So if we care about that, what can we do? Big thing, because I'm in Chicago and I'm a teacher and I'm an educator, I believe that we should be supporting the Chicago Teachers Union. 94% of teachers voted to strike as needed if the mayor is not going to honor the promises that she made. If we're not going to be able to serve our students properly, we should do that. So generally, I just think we should be supporting the educators, because when we talk about we are the village, the educators are really your first line of defense. So that's one little thing. But within that, I want us to be thinking about two things that are important to that contract that educators are fighting for and that you can be fighting for with our Board of Education, with our mayor, with your local school councils. One of those things is smaller class sizes. Seems like we're just looking to have less kids because we want to do less work. But really, there is brain research and lots of it. For decades, there's been research about how Black children learn. And smaller class sizes is one of those ways. When people send their kids to private schools, it's not so that they can necessarily study religion, right? I had a graduating class of 15 students, whereas my husband had a graduating class of 60. These are significant differences that we're talking about in our education and what opportunities we have as a result of having that individualized attention or more customized instruction. So class size is important to equity because that's how our children learn, and we should care about that, and we should be advocating for smaller class sizes. The other thing that we should be advocating for as it relates to equity is having certain staff members in our schools. Specifically, we need staff members who are trained in trauma, mental health, and dealing with those type of issues in conducive ways, right? Restorative justice, all of those type of things. Because we are an oppressed people and people who are living in high rates of poverty, generations and generations of disadvantage and dysfunction, frankly, we need to make sure that we have the services that our children need to help repair some of those things, to help compensate for some of those traumas that we experience inside our community. So it's important that we have dedicated social workers and school psychologists and the like. So if you can advocate for two things, what do we do with these values of equity? Well, we can support the teachers because they're our first line of defense when we talk about this village as it relates to public education and our children. But two specific things that we can be advocating for are smaller class sizes and making sure that we have properly trained mental health professionals in our schools. And that's my word for today. I love y'all. That's my word for this week. I love y'all. Follow up with me, y'all. Peace.